Hey everybody, Ashley here with Ferguson Farm 828. I'm going to do a chicken 101, kind of talk about getting chickens. It's fall now, but I always think in the fall about what I'm going to get in the spring. I'm going to let you know what we use to kind of, when we get our chickens, usually they're a day old when you get them. And just talk about kind of what heat lamps we use, what kind of little brooder area we use, feed, and just to get you a solid base to prepare for if you want to get some chickens in like February or March, and start with, you know, your chicken keeping process. So this is Buttercup, one of our little hens. She's the sweetest one we have, so I decided to put her in our video too. So I'm gonna let her go scratch around. Come on, Buttercup. So yeah, chickens, usually when you get them, if you get them from Tractor Supply or from a hatchery in the mail, they're usually about a day old. So what I do is, they obviously need heat. So what we do is we buy the heat lamps, and I'm going to show you the heat lamps that we have. We got this one last year. It's a little upgraded because it has like a little switch on it, on and off, which was really nice. And it doesn't come with a bulb. Usually Producer's Pride at Tractor Supply, they'll give you a 2-pack of the bulbs, which is really, really nice. Because if one goes out, you have one on hand. You don't have to run out and get another one, and your chickens might be cold and, you know, things like that. So you always keep a backup one. So if you're on your last one in your 2-pack, I'd go out and get some more just to have it on hand always. A lot of people don't like these heaters because they are a fire hazard. You just have to use common sense and be smart about it. Don't put it super low to where it's like super close to the brooder floor or close to paper products, or, you know, you want to have basically an area where there's not anything flammable around. So, and we hang it up. We usually put our chickens, I started with chickens in my basement, if that tells you anything, when I first got my chickens. But now we have them in our garage because we built a garage. And soon we will have them in a barn when we build a barn. So it's all a process. But we usually will hang this up with some rope, some nylon rope. And, you know, at the first day, chickens I think need to have 96 degrees in their brooder. So, and then every week it goes down about 5 or 6 degrees. So we have it at 96, and then we lift it up to like 89 or even 90, and then we lift it up a little more. The good thing to also have is this little digital thermometer that I got on Amazon. I can actually post the link for it from Amazon where I got it, but it's a little digital thermometer that shows you can place in the brooder and will tell you the temperature of what you and how far you want to keep your heat lamp up or down. Right here, and it is a close up. It's Harbor, I think it is. Yeah, Harbor, and it is a great little digital. I think it's about like $8. It's great. So that's something you need to purchase too. These heat lamps are relatively like inexpensive, and, you know, they last for a long time. So they also have another thing you can buy, which is kind of pricey, but it's like a flat kind of heater where the chicks can actually go under the heat. Less of a fire hazard, but it's definitely a little more expensive. So just starting off, I would recommend getting something like this. Just use your common sense, like I said, and don't put it somewhere where something could catch fire, or don't put it down too low where it's too hot for your chicks, because they can get overheated, and they'll kind of let you know when they're in their brooder. If they're really huddled and really close together and close like under the lamp, that means they're cold. And then if you put this down and they're really spread out all over the brooder box, that means they're too hot. So you kind of just have to finagle with it and kind of see what you need. So that's what I do. I always lift up a little bit, lift it down a little bit, check my thermometer, check and see what my chicks are doing, and kind of go from there. So that's the step in heat. Heat's the main thing when you're keeping chicks because they can't keep themselves warm. And so that's a really big thing. So I'm going to show you some of the brooders we have too. Actually made my own brooder. You can invest in something like this, which is just a Country Line galvanized tub. If you see, it was about $100 at Tractor Supply. I've used it for many years. It's always done a great job. It's kind of heavy when you have to clean it out is the thing. Like if it's covered in pine shavings on the bottom, and you're taking it to go dump it out, it's kind of heavy. This is my only like issue with it, but overall it's been a great little brooder, and you can use it for other things. If you decide you don't want to do chickens anymore, you can use it as a gardening trough, or if you have livestock, you can use it as a watering trough and maybe put like a little drain in the bottom of it, or just whatever. So I think it was worth the money. If you don't want to spend that, we have actually made out of a storage tub. I'll show you kind of how I made it. The feeders in a minute. Had a storage tub right here. Back up a little bit here. And actually cut the top of the storage tub off with like an X-Acto knife. And then I zip tied some chicken netting to the top. So it goes on like this. That's a cheaper way of doing a little brooder. Just something, you know, if you don't want to spend the $100 on the Country Line tub, then this really worked well when we had two separate types of chickens or ages of chickens. Or actually, I think we had ducks in one and we had chickens in the other, chicks in the other. So this really worked really well for the chicks. I also have a lid for my Country Line that my husband made. Because when they get old enough, they are going to want to jump out. And they can do that pretty quickly. In a few weeks, actually, like a month or so, they start getting a little flighty. So we made this little head of plywood. He measured and cut it out and put some chicken wire in there. And that's another brooder that we did. And then I'll show you with the lamp kind of what we do. So we have the lamp, and it goes over this like this, either up or down depending on your thermometer. And you can put your thermometer either in there on the floor, or you can put it on the side. It's got like a little magnet on it, which I love. You can stick it on the side, but I always like to put it right where the heat is, just so I know exactly what the temperature is. So let's see, feeders and waterers. I'll show you the box of the heat lamp. This is the box for the heat lamps. So this is where you can get a Tractor Supply, Rural King, wherever. I use these feeders for the chicks. I have a really long one, and I have this little mini one depending on how many chicks you have, how big your brooder box is. This works really well. The only thing is they like to roost up here and they can poop in their food, so that's a disadvantage to these, but you can find them almost anywhere. So that's what I used, and then when they got older I moved to a different kind of feeder. It's actually something like this. Let me show you. Sorry about that. Feeder like this, and it actually comes with a little top on it. You can use it. It's got a feather in it. I have some chicks right now, so I'm actually using it for my chicks. But it has a little plastic top you can put on top of it. But I don't do that because my chicks always seem to knock it over. So I just use this and just fill it up every day so they have plenty of food. So it's another type. And then a water, kind of like this. Excuse how dirty this one is. I've got to clean it. But it's just chicken life, you know, in our well water. So yeah. But yeah, here's another little waterer that you can use for your chicks. And this works really well. And I also have a feeder version of that same one. So yeah. I'm trying to think of what else. Food. So whatever water is in heaters. You can buy Start and Grow Purina. Find it anywhere. Some people are totally against this because they want to be all natural, and I get that. They don't want the Amperilium in it. The Amperilium is in this because it's a medicated feed. It helps prevent coccidiosis, and chickens are very prone to that, especially when they're young, because they don't have a strong immunity and they're stepping in their poop and bacteria is in there, and then they can get really sick and die. So what I do, I always start them off with medicated feed, just to be on the safe side, just so I'm not losing a bunch of chickens. I did do it with an organic feed 1 year, and I lost a bunch of chickens and had to give them Corid anyways, a liquid form of Corid, which is this, which I suggest for any chicken keeper to have on hand, just in case, because it will save your chickens. You put it in their water for like 5 days, and it helps. But this is when they're older. But I would just recommend doing this in the beginning. And they have, you know, feed stores, local feed stores, I'm sure they have some medicated, local made feeds. We actually have a feed store down in South Carolina that we will go to, but it's like a 2-hour round trip. So when I'm in a pinch, I use this. I've never had any issues with it. My chickens have always done really well with it. I feed this to them for probably until they're about 16 weeks old, and then I kind of gradually switch them into a layer feed, so I just gradually like mix it up a little bit more until it's finally just all layer feed. When your chickens are in their brooder, kind of skip this step, you have to keep them in the brooder for about 8 weeks. Once all their feathers are fully on, and once they're thriving and eating and, you know, getting around really well, and then you can transfer them into the coop. It also depends on the time of year though. That's why we always get our chickens in like March, because then by 8 weeks, 2 months from now, it's usually pretty warm where we are. We're in Western North Carolina, so they can go out into the coop and they'll be fine. But yeah, 8 weeks is usually the mark of when we stick them in the coop, and they're kind of good to go outside. So, and it's really kind of like, it's so nice when that happens, because then you don't have to worry about chickens making a mess in your garage or your basement or wherever you have them. So, so that's the feed and everything that I buy. So that's basically your needs for when you're just getting chicks. For the first time, you're getting them a day old, you have a brooder. Also, I'm going to show you what I put in the bottom of the brooder. A lot of people do different stuff, but this is what has always worked for me. It's a lower dust. Let me get it. It's right here. I use these Tractor Supply premium pine shaving flakes. And that's what I'll put in the bottom of these brooders. Yeah, so it absorbs a lot of the nasty stuff, because chickens are so dirty. They're dirty little birds. So I use that, and I put that in the bottom. Cleaning out tips. I recommend, you know, checking their food and water every single day, obviously. Cleaning out their water every few days. And cleaning out their brooder probably once a week, if not once every 2 weeks, depending on how many chickens you have in your brooder. I was like crazy when I first got chickens, when I had them in my basement. I was like cleaning out the thing like every day or every 2 days. It was like, oh man, there's some poop in there, I've got to clean it out. And, you know, when you first get something, you're super like just overly clean about it, and like overly like, oh, I've got to do all the things and keep it perfect. And, you know, that's not the case. They're super simple, and I always say chickens are like having chips. You can never have just one. You'll get addicted to it, and you'll end up buying so many chickens. And I mean, it's just, they all have their different personalities, and they're all so fun. And then when they start laying, it's very exciting, especially if you have kids. We homeschool, and my kids are obsessed with their chickens. We've incubated eggs, we've done all the things like that. It's like a science project for them. It's just really educational for everyone. I've learned so much in the last 5 years of having chickens. So hopefully this video helped you guys. Like and subscribe if you liked it. I'm gonna have more to come on once you transfer chickens into your coop at about 8 weeks. I'm going to show you our coop setup, kind of the things I have on hand for preventative and medication wise, deworming, if you have a sick chicken, things like that. So I'll post another video on this, and thank you guys for watching. Hope you're having a good weekend. All right, bye.